When you first discover that you're intersex, there are many questions that becomes suddenly relevant or suddenly pop up, such as many definitions. One of those is, of course, you will come across many terms such as gender, sex, gender dysphoria, and so many things, and you try to make sense of all of it. But the one term that's over the years that I've come to realize is what I was really struggling with was gender role dysphoria. Not a term that exists yet as far as I know, but the concept of a gender role is the societal role being assigned to a particular gender. Meaning a gender comes from Latin via friends, basically means a group of people, objects, items that share certain characteristics. In this sense, then, gender is a group of people with the same reproductive organs as effectively. So, biologically speaking, male and female, those two groups. In societies, those groups, those genders, they get assigned specific roles. This is something that is deep within culture, deep within every single part of the culture of the society. I mean, it starts before you're even born. That it's really relevant. Are you a boy or a girl? People want to know or don't want to know, or there's a big reveal, or maybe not. But it is something that plays a big role. That when you see a newborn in a cradle, and you ask the mother or the father, is it a boy or a girl? And that is something that really just is so ingrained in society. And from there you get the gender role, because we don't just discriminate between those two genders, those two groups, but they have certain expectations. They are raised in different ways. They are expected to like certain colors, and certain colors they cannot like. One group is allowed to like cute stuff, the other does not. One group is allowed to cry, the other is not. But what is the problem with gender roles? I mean, a gender, a group, one's sex, one's biological sex, all of that is, it just is. You're either male or female or something else. Whatever your body is, however it's developed, that is something that cannot be changed. But the role that is assigned within a society to a specific group, that is something that we humans, as a society, control. So what if you feel that you, as an individual, do not like this role? What if you feel that, oh, well, I would actually like to wear that kind of clothing, maybe skirts, or like the color pink, but I'm supposed to be a boy, or, well, I would really like to join that group of girls in this game, but I'm not allowed to because I'm a boy, or vice versa. Like you're a girl, and you're like, oh, I really want to play football, but you cannot because you're a girl. You don't do that, and so on and so on. And the whole time, you're basically being told that you cannot do things, you cannot like things. You're basically, if you do those things, that is wrong. You commit some kind of breach of societal contract, and that's the end of that. Most of the time, you just say, okay, well, that is just the way it is, and you leave it at that. But say that you're intersex, as I found out at one point, because for so many years I've been told, you're a boy, you're a boy. Okay, you grow up. I mean, you look down there, you see those parts. I didn't know that I had more more parts inside, all hidden. I had no idea. I mean, my puberty was a bit odd, but you kind of brushed it to the side like, well, I mean, I'm a boy, so I must follow the path, the role that is normal, is expected of me as a boy. So you do that. Doesn't really, it kind of works. I mean, it's an obligation more, really. It's not that you want it all, and the feeling I had with it was more one of, well, I mean, you just do it because you've got nothing to bring against it, so you just go along with it. Fine. I mean, everybody's happy. You don't really care too much, but it gets people off your back. But then, when I discovered that I was intersex, that I was actually a hermaphrodite, and I had also got female reproductive organs, and actually my skeleton is that of a woman. And basically, during puberty, I began to develop secondary female characteristics. So, okay, congratulations. That was all a lie, the whole boy thing. So, now that my gender, my sex has clearly changed or has revealed itself, what is now my societal sex, so my gender, and what gender role actually works for me then. The term that I struggled with during many years was gender dysphoria, because the way that it is phrased is that you as a person, you don't just have a physical sex, a physical gender that gets you sorted into this gender, this group, but your brain also has a gender, your gender identity. And that's the part where things really didn't work for me. Mostly because what I found really weird and impractical about that was really like, what are you changing? Like, first of all, a gender identity, you're supposed to feel female or male. And I tried to imagine what that would be like, but I had no idea what to imagine with that. I mean, I am me. I'm a person. One thing I've come to realize over the years is that a person is way more complicated than just a binary male or female, because a human being is this amalgamation of countless impressions and memories and wishes and dreams, and you cannot just compact that into one neat little box. One's personality is way more complex than that. So I never could make sense of that. But what I also came to realize at some point was that what I was really struggling with, trying to define myself within the context of my intersex condition, was this gender role. So what does society expect from me? What would work for me? And, well, what I realized is that, okay, my appearance, my phenotype is that of a woman. Certain percentage of my cells also is female, so fine. I will just outwards in society, I'm a woman. Done. Everybody happy, and I will just keep up this this female gender role. Fine. But before that, there was this expectation almost, it felt like, you must choose. Either you choose the male or the female gender role. And that kind of dysphoria, what you get, like where do you fit? What, like this mismatch between the society role you imagine inside your head, your gender role, and what society expect from you based on what they perceive to be your gender. And that feeling of confusion, of dysphoria, that really just gets to you. It's just, how do you define yourself when there are only two gender roles? And you try to cram yourself into one of those, and you realize that neither works for you. And some people then are like, well, okay, you're maybe queer or something, or whatever term they then throw at it. But the point really is that it's all nonsense, because gender roles are imaginary. They're just something that we as societies dreamt up. Every culture, every society has their own set of gender roles and their own expectations, and in the end, it's all about the individual, because every person is unique. You cannot simply categorize people as men and women, male or female, and say that, okay, your brain is that of a man, your brain is that of a woman, and that's why that's not how it works. It's way more complicated than just that. So in that sense, gender social, gender social dysphoria, I think as a term that kind of fits for more people than just as intersex people. Because I mean, for us, it's something that is really important, because you physically are something that does not fit within those two genders, and you can then try to look at other things, but it doesn't exist. I mean, there's a reason why with the whole thing about what they call on gender dysphoria, with that identity, that's you always switch from one binary to the other binary, and that's all you've got. So within that, even as an intersex person, you find no solution in there. There are no answers there. And that also means that, because right now in psychology, that is the narrative that people run with mostly, that you have a gender identity, and your brain's gender identity has to match your body. But it's not about the gender identity. It's not about gender. It is about you as a person and your gender role. So your gender role dysphoria, you could call it. Because being forced into the straitjacket by society, that is what really gets to you. And that is what got to me as an intersex person, just trying to make sense of, okay, how am I going to fit in this society? And ultimately, what you realize is that you're not going to try to fit in. You're going to be you as a person. And if society has a problem with you, the way you are, I mean, that's their problem. If just like with a gender role, if I don't behave in a way that is socially acceptable for something, that's not my problem. And that's also why I feel that with lots of expectations, for example, with clothing and with things like makeup and such. I mean, okay, one thing I've noticed that as a female gender role, in Western societies, you are allowed way more things. You can basically wear anything, you can do makeup all you want, and nobody is going to look weird at you. However, male gender role. I mean, I lived in it for a number of years until puberty, basically. And that's so restrictive. You cannot wear anything, makeup. Come on, you're not homosexual, are you? And so on. Or you like pink? Oh, something is wrong with you. You must be homosexual. And so on. It is really frustrating. And in the end, gender role dysphoria is something that is not about the individual even. It is a symptom of the sickness in society as a whole. That society remains so incredibly stuck on perpetuating this myth of individuals being either male or female and identifying with being male or female, and everything is about male or female, and everything is about, well, in the end, it's about reproductive organs, I guess. And of course, I mean, we are animals. Reproducing is what keeps society going, because if we don't reproduce and we don't find a mate, then humanity goes extinct. So it makes sense, but at some point you have to realize, as society, as a people, that there is more to life than just finding a mate and creating offspring. Because one thing that we humans have is intelligence and awareness, and okay, maybe there are other mammals and other animals out there that have similar levels of awareness of being alive. But that is the gift that we should really go with, because that is the precious thing. I mean, offspring, great, and all kinds of things about biological sex, sure, whatever. And being happy within a family, great. But that should not mean that we neglect the rest of who and what we are, because that is something that is far more precious than just those base things. So those are just my thoughts on this issue, and I probably have a lot more to add to that in the future. So I hope it was somewhat interesting, and if you have any comments, then please leave them below, and I'll try to answer them in any questions in a future episode. So until then, and thank you for listening.